Thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I'm Lami Ali. Nigeria is expected to experience an increase of 400,000 metric tons of maize annually with the introduction of a new variety of maize produced by Nigerian agronomists. Minister of Innovation and Science says government will save about $284 million by adopting the new maize variety. Musa Aliu reports.
Drought and fall armyworm are identified as major challenges affecting maize farming in Nigeria. Owing to these factors, the country's yield per hectare has been on the decline. However, the good news is that Nigerian scientists have developed a new variety of maize seed that is resistant to drought and insect infestation. Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology visited a demonstration farm in Abuja. Satisfied with the output, he says the seeds will be made available for farmers in 2024.
Beyond the reduced reliance on chemical, the economic implications are profound. This innovation will counteract the annual fall armyworm-induced losses exceeding $268 million United States dollars.
In BT cowpea, with potential yield of 2.9 to 3 tons per hectare, as against the local variety with 350 kilograms per hectare, all developed by our scientists in collaboration with IR Zaria, ATF Kenya, and other national and international collaborators.
Nigeria has a deficit of about 3 to 5 million tons of maize annually, while the national output stands at 20 million tons. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
Over the years, Nigeria suffered climate events such as flooding, erosion, deforestation, among others. To better manage these climatic challenges, the National Council for Climate Change is strengthening its risk assessment mechanisms. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, who was at the meeting, reports that the agency identifies the need to broaden national assessments of climate risk and support strategic engagements to foster risk financing for the greater good.
But the program is itself owned by the country to strengthen their own capacity and work on practical programs.
As an important first step in addressing climate risk and loss and damage exacerbated by climate change in Nigeria.
The Council also says conversations like this will bridge the gap between the public and private sectors in addressing climate disaster in Nigeria. Now, one of the critical needs of the Niger Delta region is access to safe drinking water, and this the federal government is poised to achieve as part of efforts to actualize the renewed hope agenda initiated by President Bola Tinubu for the benefit of Nigerians. Minister of State for Water Resources and Sanitation Bello Muhammad Gorunyu gave the assurance during a two-day familiarization tour of River State, where he met with key stakeholders. Joy Uzo has the details.
For stakeholders in the region, especially the Niger Delta Basin Development Authority, the two-day working visit of the Minister of State for Water Resources and Sanitation Bello Muhammad Gorunyu to River State is one that will produce fruitful results, more so being his first after appointment. A familiarization tour of the development initiative of the Basin Authority by the minister, who was accompanied by key stakeholders from ministries, departments and agencies, took better part of the visits.
The priorities of Mr. President is to ensure food security, wealth creation, inclusivity, fairness and rule of law.
Meanwhile, the region's soil noted to be rich for rice production formed part of the appeal by the Managing Director, Niger Delta Basin Development Authority, Mark Dasu Derafaka, who called for federal government support to harness this potential for food security and job creation. They further appealed for improved budgetary allocation to address the challenge of flooding in the region for sustainable economic growth. In Port Harcourt, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
Nationwide continues in Ibadan.
And welcome to Ibadan Network Center. Professional training in science laboratory technology is critical in addressing the challenge of proliferation and quacks manning science laboratories across the country. This was key at the scientific workshop of the Association of Science Laboratory Technologists of Nigeria held in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Grace Anyolike tells us more.
Be achieved without laboratories which will provide intervention for research and discoveries. Against this backdrop, the Association of Science Laboratory Technologists of Nigeria, in conjunction with Nigerian Institute of Science Laboratory Technology, exchanged ideas to maintain technological diversity through entrepreneurship.
Our researchers should be able to sit down to bring up ideas that we can also sell to other countries.
With the theme, Entrepreneurial Role of Science Laboratory Technology in Sustainable Development for National Growth. The Council is resolute on deepening the practical skills of its members.
To look beyond the four walls of the laboratory and see the capacity that has been embedded in them and liberate Nigeria from the grounds of economic hardship.
There are so many things we can do in the entrepreneurial aspect of it. There's something we also call glass blowing, where you can produce your own test tube, you can produce your own beaker without importing, using the local content.
A new crop of fellows were inducted in recognition of their contribution to science and technology in Ibadan. Grace Anyolike, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. Nationwide continues with Lami back in our Abuja studios.
You're welcome back. It was a tough moment for the leadership of the Nigeria Governors Forum meeting union leaders from two critical institutions. But since it's all about welfare and service delivery, the forum says it is ready for negotiations. Now, the medical and parliamentary unions are the visitors, and central to the dialogue are allowances and other professional entitlements. Abubakar Akwanga brings us the details.
The National Association of Resident Doctors and Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria are united in a similar cause, which is to press on demand for welfare and improve condition of service for optimal results.
We have an issue on ground of the chronic brain drain that is affecting our healthcare system. Regardless of the number of facilities or equipment that we have in our healthcare, if we do not have the manpower to use this equipment and facility, then the healthcare system will always be null and void.
It's not a secret. There's a national strike by the PASAN. The strike has been ongoing now since last week, Monday, I believe. This will be the 8th or 9th working day that they have been on strike, and hopefully we'll be able to have a way to move forward from this situation.
Now, the leadership of the Nigerian Governors Forum says the Secretariat is aware of some of the challenges and promised to jointly strike a truce between the two unions and government at sub-national level.
Now it's left to core civil servants to say they too want their own skills. They have their benefits too. So let's put hands together to make this thing work. Now, we have 36 states plus Abuja. all fingers are not equal. It will take us time to get to where we are, but we know where the goal is.
Thank you very much. These two entities are appealing for quick government intervention to save the country from industrial disharmony and poor services across critical infrastructure of government in the country. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Arewa's new agenda under the aegis of One Arewa, One Voice and One Agenda has endorsed the renewed hope agenda of the Tinubu presidency with a promise that will impact positively on northern Nigeria. This was at a one-day dialogue tagged The Road to Ending Poverty in Nigeria. Again, Abubakar Akwanga brings us the report.
The journey to a new future for all in Nigeria has just begun, and northern stakeholders see the region at a vantage position to integrate with the renewed hope agenda. The dialogue, therefore, was designed to initiate a more appropriate platform to present the northern agenda in line with the policies and programs of the federal government.
The government needs to draw a drastic paradigm shift by recognizing that education shouldn't be treated just like a place of learning, but rather as a strategic tool to regulate economic growth and sustainability.
That the first thing we need to do is to look at the training of small-scale farmers, talking about the issue of equipment, the issue of modern techniques, the issue of seedlings. So many things are put there.
We are on the right side, and we are going to succeed because we have decided not to fail.
We must learn to talk and act on the actions that we intend to take.
Socio-economic and political issues formed opinions of northern leaders in building a tripod that holds the future of the North in particular and Nigeria in general. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Experts in social safety programs from around the world are working round the clock to address poverty level in Nigeria in line with the renewed hope agenda of the present administration. The conference, which is organized by the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution in partnership with the Conflict Research Network of West Africa, is holding in Abuja. David Irie reports.
Bodies in humanitarian services, including UNICEF, are here to work out contemporary mechanisms to tackle challenges associated with the implementation of social protection programs in Nigeria. Tagged Social Protection and Economic Uncertainties in Fragile and Conflict-Affected Society, the conference seeks to understand modern ways to cater for the vulnerable in a society with high-level poverty and make necessary recommendations to the government for action.
The right institutions to deliver, on the supposed social protection, and then the human capacity as well, to deliver, on social protection. I think those were particularly very missing, and that makes social protection policy in the past too heavily vulnerable, to leakages.
The conference believes that building a social protection system that is responsive to those affected by conflict is a major step in tackling the problem of poverty.
In Nigeria, over the last decade, the social protection architecture has advanced significantly at both federal and state levels. We expect this progress to continue with the strong political mandate set out by President Tinubu in the government's manifesto.
It is crucial for all of us to gathered here today to recognize that in the face of adversity, the children of Nigeria and their families continue to show remarkable strength, courage, and resilience. They embody the enduring spirit of this nation and serve as a testament of the indomitable human spirit that refuses to be broken.
Collated relevant data from this research work is expected to serve as a springboard to the implementation of social protection programs of the federal government. In Abuja, David Irie, NTA News.
Nigerian traditional rulers are collaborating with the Libyan government for grassroots support in order to address some of its contemporary challenges. This was the thrust of discussion between Libyan Minister of African Affairs and Coordinating Committee of National Council of Traditional Rulers in Abuja. Abdullahi Musa Salija reports.
Since the end of President Muammar Gaddafi's administration in Libya, the country has become unpopular as a source of proliferation of light weapons and a leading country in Africa, where illegal migration and trafficking in persons take place. This informed the visit by the Libyan delegation to the traditional rulers who are believed to be close to people at the grassroots.
It's a purely an advisory role. These are the opportunities we use to have that mutual understanding. So we have free flow of people who go about their normal business in accordance with the law of the land. So we are just initiating.
The host, which is a coordinating committee comprising chairmen of traditional rulers in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, will intimate its parent body, chaired by Sultan of Sokoto and co-chaired by Onyo of Ife, and thereafter present its submission to Nigerian government for necessary action. Abdullahi Musa Sleja, NTA News.
Now, 6 states of the Federation and non-governmental organizations have received checks of 700,000 naira each to execute such palliative projects. Deborah Balagbobu reports that the benevolent palliative projects awards were as a result of collaboration between NIDCAM and the Zumunta Association USA Incorporated. The reports.
States are Yobe, Zamfara, Kebbi, Jigawa, Kaduna and Katsina, alongside some NGOs.
We will use these funds to register, to enroll children of under 5 with the National Health Insurance Scheme.
The main target is to enroll those that are in need of health.
The synergy between NIDCAM and Zubanta Chairman NIDCAM Dr. Abike Dabiri Arewa says demonstrates their commitment towards humanity with the spirit of giving back to the community.
To encourage the Nigerians in the diaspora that number over 17 million, to provide for the engagement of Nigerians in diaspora.
We've made significant strides in aiding underprivileged community through the Zumunta Palliative Project, collaboration with NIDCAM.
I want to assure you that a little drops fills a large bucket of water. No matter how small it is, we can touch lives.
We've created an office, a liaison office, inside that National Assembly. That has not been there before. So we believe we are doing this to enhance that relationship.
I challenge you, those who are in diaspora, learn something that you will also bring it here, so that we will leverage on it and export it to other nations.
NIDCAM promised to work with government to ensure that the development the country yearns for is achieved expeditiously through the participation of diaspora communities. In Abuja, Deborah Balagbobu, NTA News.
Residents and motorists plying the ever-busy Pape Road in Abuja have appealed for the urgent attention of to curb loss of lives and property at the junction. This followed last Thursday's unfortunate crash that claimed scores of lives. Abdullahi Ajia brings us the story.
Pape remains one of the satellite towns with its proximity to the nation's capital, making it a center of attraction for residential and commercial ventures. Activities of articulate vehicles on a daily basis, coupled with the slopey nature of the road, as well as a bad portion of the road at the major junction, are however some of the reasons motorists and residents hinge on the one too many crashes on that axis.
I confirmed that the trailer steering locked. So the guy now think that stone is deep on the ground. So he now put his hand there. So as he put his hand there, that stone, he carried the stone with the keke. As he carried the keke with the stone, there is children that used to stand here, like 4 of them confirmed dead.
There were a lot of persons in the keke that was crushed under the truck and some cars. I saw many deaths at the time they were evacuated.
The recent being a gory sight to behold last Thursday, where a truck crushed many to deaths.
The solution that can reduce this accident in Pape is that make all those security agencies give all those tipper people the rules and regulations.
In Abuja, Abdullah Hajia, NTA News.
Now, Abdullahi is live at Pape Junction to give us more perspective on the accidents that happen around that axis. It's over to you, Abdullahi.
Hello, Lami.
Can you hear me? Go ahead. Abdullahi,
Okay, well, Lami, if you can hear me, we are at the Pape Junction, a popular satellite community in the nation's capital. And its proximity, like we did say in the report, is one that attracts residents to living in this community. Well, the issue here is around the recurring decimal of crashes on this axis, particularly this very junction here. Just last week, about 10 lives were lost as a result of a truck crushing many tricycles and a motorcycle to death here. But while we continue to look for lasting solution to the issue of recurring crashes in this place, the attitude of motorists, as well as the deplorable state of the road here.
Well, we cannot continue with that update from Abdullahi due to poor signals. And this is where we come to the end of the abridged version of Nationwide. Our election studios is going to open any moments from now as we bring you step by step details of elections in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi. Cyril is standing by. To Cyril for continuation of the details of the upcoming elections.